Hello, welcome everybody to our first free public new MMA structure live stream. Great to have you all here. I'm very glad that the interest is so high. I'm looking forward to get to know you guys, and I'm also looking forward to see who's really who really wants to be here and who's just coming because it's free now. Time will tell. This is an experiment. I hope the quality of the group will remain. No sound. Okay. Sound is good. Maybe it's on you, Barncore. Yeah. Anyway, so if the majority says the sound is all right, I guess the sound is all right. So again, welcome, and I'm very glad that so many guys are interested in this group. This is a experiment. I just thought, so first of all, as said, I don't want to make like money off the subscription anymore. I don't really enjoy it. I feel like I have to entertain people with content setups, constantly telling how great I am and all that garbage. I really don't care about that. I just want to trade, and Discord more or less has become some kind of technical journaling for me. I mean, it's not my private journal and all that, but it's my technical journal. I just send my charts in there, my thoughts and all that, and I just want to keep on doing this. And yeah, so why not doing it like this? Also, as said, I'm curious to see how many people will remain in the end, and really like being interested in learning to trade, because I think a lot of people think now because it's free and it costs something before, there is some hidden trick or whatever that makes you profitable within a second. But as you guys know, trading is hard. Trading requires especially a lot of effort and like the will to make it, and nobody will motivate you, and making this group for free now won't change anything. So I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm always did. I'm enjoying having people around. I enjoy the community of other traders, and I also enjoy simply sharing what I do. And now I'm just keep on doing that. And to start off all of this, I'm gonna share my screen now with you guys. You should be able to see Discord. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, seems like you guys figure out your sound issues. You should be able to see Discord. And I'm just quickly going over the whole server and like the different categories and what they mean and how I would like to structure this. So if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to be part of this community, as said, there's a place for everybody. Also, there is no need to be active or anything. If you just be passive, want to observe, want to learn, ask a question here and there, there is definitely not a problem. Just don't spam and all that crap. Obviously, like add something or just observe. If you reduce the quality of the server, you will be gone and there will be no warning, no nothing. If it's crap, or not, like, I mean, everybody makes mistakes and all that, but if it's just simply spam or annoying people or like being mean to people or toxic kind of stuff, you will be gone immediately. But for now, everybody has a place that introduce himself. And so now let's go quickly over all those categories. I mean, rules, new members start here, all of that should be self-explaining. Introduce yourself, self-explaining, announcements. I'm gonna post everything that is happening regarding the server or regarding live streams or anything like organizing stuff, and all that stuff will be happening here. The white belt section is for the white belt guys. The general chat is simply for everything that's like trading related, talking, having discussions, all that. The tinfoil launch is basically our macro chat. At some point we decided to change that name just because it's funny, but it's basically the macro chat. So if you have some interesting news, funny stuff, news like conspiracy theories, all that stuff, posts of other traders, you can post them here. Chill out launch should be simply for like having fun. Like, for example, I like to share photos I make, or people talking about like where they are, what they're doing. This is simply everything that's not trading related, and just for fun. We have this FTMO channel. I'm not a big FTMO trader, as I said in my last public live stream, but there are people here, and also Med is sharing his whole FTMO journey, his whole learnings, basically sharing his journal with you. And if you're willing to, or if you want to become an FTMO trader, this could be something for you. So check it out. Med is a very reflective guy, and you could learn a lot, in my view, from his reflections. This is macro overview. I just use this to share my weekly updates here, simply for people who don't want to spend too much time on X and all that. I also try to avoid X if possible. I have some people I look at. I do my own stuff, but in general, I try to stay away, simply because it's just a distraction most of the time. And so I can understand. So I thought maybe it's nice for people to have this here. Click on it, and you don't have to deal with X if you want to see what I'm talking each week. This is the crypto majors overview. I share things like reducing my crypto holdings to 20%, only XRP and Doge left. You will see that I did this consistently over a long time. This channel was already for free anyway, because I felt like crypto is not even my edge. I just learned everything from Money Tower basically. And so I thought, why would I keep this behind a wall? And also I think in general, my main intention was to help people or to guide people. And yeah, if I hide everything behind a paywall, I just miss my mission, more or less. And so I did this for free for a long time. And you will see there's the whole history of how I handle my spot bags, why I did that, why I cut, why I add, and all that. And the majors update is also going to be posted there. I find a lot of joy in doing this in video form by now, simply because it's way easier than like screenshotting all the charts and writing everything down. I can just talk and spit out what I have to say. And this will remain Crypto Major Monday, and it's going to be posted in here. Then we have live streams and charting, self-explaining live streams. We have the live charting section, which I simply have, like, I did some videos a while ago. I did not really like put on a lot of intention, or not intention, what's the word, like I did it not for a very long time. I did some charts here, uploaded them. Maybe I will do this in the future again, time will tell. This is a very interesting channel, even though people don't really use them. They're going to be weekly live streams, simply because I enjoy doing them. And if you, for example, can't make it, it will probably stay Saturday around a similar time each week. And if you can't make it, simply to work, time zone issues or whatever, you can post your questions and your topics here. So that's the live streams topic wish list. So you can simply put in your topic here, and if I don't forget it, I will look at it for each live stream and I will cover your questions here. And for everybody else, if you can make it to a live stream, don't use this channel, just come and ask your questions. I think it's probably more effective. We have also live stream recordings. All of my live streams will be uploaded here. The next section is TradFi. You will see me most of the time posting setups in here, simply because I mainly trade stocks since a good while. Everything you have to say, to ask, and charts you have to share. TradFi discussions is exactly for that. I blocked the whole, so here we come to that. So yeah, I probably need to come to that now. Let me quickly check the chat if everything's all right. Okay, nobody's complaining. So TradFi discussion is for if you have a question, if you for example, see a setup of mine, you want to ask a question, you want to share your own setup. Also, you can also do that here. Simply because I want to keep those setups channels a little bit more clean. So if, for example, if you're here for a longer time, and if you have proven yourself more or less worthy of posting into the setups channel, simply because we see that you understand market structure, you have a clear understanding of levels and a clear system over a prolonged period, you get access to simply post into the setups channels for everybody to see. But for now, I don't want to clutter all of this and mess up the whole setups channels because everybody's posting random stuff in there. Because what I've seen over time, like being in several groups and talking to a lot of people, people get confused by big groups simply because there are so many setups, and you for example, you said, okay, I'm not in a good mood today, I'm just gonna learn, and then you see a lot of people posting setups and you think like, oh yeah, no, I just need to enter this, and oh yeah, why not, and I don't want to miss out and all that stuff. So these should be for real good like setups, valid setups from people who know what they're talking about. I'm not saying I'm the only one who's able to post there. I have like I gave already some people access. And if you want to do that, just prove consistently that you know what you're talking about, and you will instantly get access. If so, we have a little like mess here. We have stocks, setups, TradFi, and alt stocks. I would like to like do all of them in one, but we started with a different strategy, and now some of my threads are here, some are in here, and some are in here. So I made this like, this is stocks like Nvidia, and Google should also be there, but I posted Google in this one because this was not alt stocks. And yeah, as I said, there's a little mess until like, for example, if Nvidia is done, and if Nvidia has played or gets stopped, I will if Google here is done or gets stopped, I will move it to stocks, and setups TradFi should be so SPX should also be in stocks, and TradFi here, this should be commodities. I'm not quite sure. I want to have a better structure here, but as I said, I messed it up, or we messed it up because the server was so big quite a while, and we had so many channels and all that, so it's a little bit messed up. But I wanted to keep the history for people to see how I traded those assets over time, and yeah, that's why it looks like that. My dream scenario would be that it looks like crypto. We have discussions, we have setups, and we have, for in this case, order flow. And here, alt stocks, I want to quickly say something to them, and we have a prime example. This is Agenomic stock. You see, they can be very, very violent. And I'm sharing everything I'm doing here. So I shared that I entered, I shared that I did a 70% TP, and then it simply gapped down. I think it was like 40% or something. I'm not quite sure. And just because it's a stock doesn't mean it has less risk. And especially those, I mean, I try to not trade penny stocks, so they should have at least a little bit of volume. But even the bigger ones, we have another example, Synopsys. This is a huge company. It has high volume, and it also nuked like this. And as said, just because it's a stock, just because it's a company, doesn't mean it's different to crypto. It's different from its behavior, and I think so. For example, I like to trade it a lot more simply because I'm coming up with my own edge here, and it flows a lot more. It feels a lot more natural, and it simply makes more sense to me because, as said, it's basically my own thing that's going on here. The only thing I really want to point out, if you want to copy trade me, or if you take any of those setups, please manage your risk properly. And I'm talking about 1 to 2% here. If you don't know what you're doing, it should be even less. Try to learn first and to earn later. And as said, there are like their own, those kind of stocks have their own stepping stones. You have opening times, you have pre-market, you have aftermarket, you have all those things. Try to learn first and to earn later. If you want to trade alongside, I mean, people are doing that and it works great. As said, I'm completely transparent. I share every entry, every exit, how I manage my positions, everything. But at the same time, it could be that you are asleep or whatever while the stock is moving and all that. So as said, know what you're doing, know what you're trading. Even the good looking ones, the ones that sound very nice, can do something like that. And if you think like, oh yeah, it's a good idea to go long up here or whatever, as said, it's a market like every other market. Just know what you're doing. And manage your risk properly. Then we have crypto setups, crypto discussions. Same story, self-explaining. We have setups. As said, I locked the setup channel only for a handful of people. But what you can do, and similar here, you can post your questions in threads. So if I, for example, update my BTC position here, and you have a question to that, you can simply type it here, send it into the thread, and that's it. Also, those threads are usually my setup. So if you see here's a lot of traffic going on in the ETH channel. If you're interested in my setup, usually you will find it at the top. I mean, this is because it's a new channel, but you will find it here. I'm not quite sure if it's the right way to do it, but as said, I'm not here that people can copy trade me. If you're interested in my trading, you need to look for it. It's going to be in the threads. You can ask here, you can ask in crypto discussions, and try to keep to have a little, so I try to implement a little system here so that it's not complete messy and some people posting here and some people posting there. But we will see how this develops over time. But try to keep the questions in the right channel, like here crypto, TradFi, and if it's a general question, not nothing related to anything or just like a macro question, tinfoil launch and all that. As said, I'm not sure if it's the perfect system. Probably we will change some things along the way. Next category is study area. We have it looks big and it looks overwhelming, but I think the chapters more or less make a lot of sense. And if you're new or if you feel like, okay, I have a lot of like basic knowledge to learn, make sure you go through all of them in this order. So there is an intention why I put them in this order. And as said, this is everything I learned about the market, stuff I wrote, stuff I posted, some extra things. And as said, I think the categories make a lot of sense. You will find a lot of stuff in here. I mean, it was for free before, and it's still. And another thing I wanted to say is, if you have questions, especially like basic questions, what is risk, how do I set up my positions and stuff like that, make sure, please, that you, before you ask your questions, and look into those sections, because most questions have been answered anyway. And as said, trading is a profession where you rely on yourself. You have no boss, you have nobody telling you what to do, you have nobody motivating you. You need to do this for yourself. And as said, I'm not here to hold your hand all the time. I help, I really like to help, but if the question is already answered tenfold, make sure you put in a little bit of work to figure it out yourself. And as said, usually all the basic questions are all there. It's just up to you to look them up. And once you work through the study area and some things are unclear, obviously just ask. As said, I'm always willing to help, but if the question is very basic and easily found here, it would be nice if you look there first. We have also a Money Tower charts decoding section. You can look at all posts and stuff of him. We have some kind of resources. I mean, this channel, this whole server is pretty old by now, and there were a lot of people inside, so you will find a lot of videos and resources and materials and stuff from people that are not even on the server anymore, which is kind of nice. As said, there's a lot of stuff going on, and to be honest, I'm not even aware myself what's inside of all of those channels, to be honest, but I heard a lot of people said that it was quite helpful. And so, yeah, make sure to check this out if you're interested in those topics. We have health and lifestyle, simple. You can post whatever you want, health, lifestyle related, maybe some kind of sport routines, food, whatever. Motivation, inspiration, can be videos. I post some posts of myself here, documentaries, podcasts, all this kind of stuff. We have a discount and free stuff area. Check it out. Some discount links. For this one, I think I get something, but I've never even looked. And this is only valid if you have no premium at all. So I'm not even sure if you like just buy one premium year on top if you get a discount. So and the hidden liquidity indicator, most of you by now probably know it. Here's a 15% off link. It's all for free. Check it out. P&L, if you feel like you want to post P&L, testimonial, self-explaining memes, funny at times. We have our Lab Roast King, which is kind of funny at times. So I think this is the whole server so far. If there are any questions, and also if you feel like you have some kind of improvement, or you say, okay, I went through this channel and this doesn't make sense to me, or I'm completely overwhelmed by anything, you can always obviously tell me. It doesn't mean I'm going to change it, but I'm definitely hearing you, and I'm trying to make this as smooth and as like simple as possible for everybody. And Discord can be overwhelming if you're not used to it, but as said, the structure should make sense, the different categories should make sense. Some things could be improved. I'm aware of that, and this will develop along the way. And I said, if you want to get access to post setups, if you feel like, hey, I want to share setups in the setups channels, you can simply prove that you know what you're talking about, and you get some kind of role which you can use to post setups. Other than that, do that in discussions, TradFi, crypto, separated, please. Okay. I think so much to how the server looks. If there are no questions, I'm gonna do the usual weekly recap, spend some time on the charts. Let me check how I'm going to do that. So can you see TradingView now? Probably not. So if I change, let me check. Why is it not showing me? Okay. I think I need to minimize Discord first. Give me a second. All right. So let's start with crypto. Weekly reflection. I mean, by now we had many closes below this swing low, and we had this topic already in the group yesterday from a new member. He asked about like levels behind the wick and stuff like that, and in this case you see we have closes below this structural low. We had the first one here, and now we have several ones here. The weekly close is going to be important, but it's definitely a break of structure. And I mean, once this is broken, this is just a confirmation. This is the early signal. So I'm very happy with my shorts here, willing to add here. And even if we retest this upper area, willing to add to this one, even though my stop is at break even now, simply because I'm not awake for 24 hours. So if I wake up in the morning, I don't want to be like take a full stop, rather like being stopped at break even, thinking about re-entering and stuff like that. And these are swing shorts for me. So I have TP'd here 20%, and I'm trying to push these trades lower simply because my macro thesis is telling me that we're probably entering a bear market. And so as a swing trader, I want to have such positions. And yeah, I risk round tripping because I'm not TPing like everything, but as said, I'm a swing trader. If I TP all the time with every like little range structural low, I will never sit in swing positions for a very long time. And so they won't print for me in the way I need, because as a swing trader, you will see that I also deleted all scalping channels and all that, simply because I'm not a scalper. And if you want to scalp, you can share ideas, TradFi discussion, all that. I have no problem with that. But my main focus is on swing trading. And I think a lot of people, especially if I read through all the like introductions, many people have children, many people have work, many people have a lot of obligations. So I think for many people, scalping is not the right way anyway. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it or whatever. Do whatever you want, do whatever helps you, whatever like makes you money. But I'm a swing trader, and I want to structure this server as a swing trade server. And so those positions might be round trip for me, even though I think it looks good with the structural break and everything. But yeah, this is just the reality of swing trading. And I'm very patient on those plays because it pays out in the long run, right? I'm here for the long term, and I'm a high time frame trader. So obviously I need to be patient. At the same time, I'm long ETH here, which is basically shorting my, hedging my shorts. I see it as scalp, to be honest. I look at the news, and they couldn't be more bullish right now. I mean, Eric Trump and all, Senator Loomis and blah. So the usual suspects all talking bullish about crypto still. This doesn't mean we couldn't bounce from here. And I mean, it would be quite significant bounce. But I'm not so confident in this level. So as said, for me, it's a scalp and it's basically hedging my shorts here. This is simply, you see, I'm not taking a TP. I'm shorting an asset which is basically correlated. Obviously, yeah, they moved on their own sometimes, but most of the time they're correlated. So I'm allowing the one asset to hedge the other because it's, to me, it's the same market, same position basically. And instead of like TPing on the short here, I'm willing to take a stop here, and this is hedging me. So I don't really, so if it bounces here, I make 4R, which is pretty much the same thing as TPing on the BTC short. Seeing it bounce and going lower means I have less position size left on the BTC. And while this could be stopped, if this gets stopped, my BTC short would easily cover that. And you will see me doing that all the time, simply because it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people tell me, oh no, I don't want to hedge and I just want to trade positions on their own. I think this is a big mistake, simply because the market doesn't work that way, or at least in my perception. I mean, there are many ways to look at the market. And same story here. I bought some Google down here. I TP'd 80% here. Yeah, it went another 20% higher. Who cares? And instead of like TPing more of my spot here because it's only 20% left, I like short this breakdown because to me this seems like a parabolic top, more or less. Breakdown here, retest right shoulder. Now we will see if we break down. And if not, my spot back is printing higher. And if yes, I didn't TP on my spot, but the short is printing. And you see, this is pretty much the best position to be in. This is exactly the position I want to be in. It goes up, great. It goes down, great. So, you know, this is like, I don't know why people are always trying to like predict the market and be 100% exposed for this one direction, because it's simply not how the market works. It's probabilities, so you shift your positioning with the probabilities. And as I said, I think it's a good time to sell Google, but why would I sell all my spot if I can simply short? And as said, similar story here, I don't TP on the short on BTC, I open a long on ETH. And if it gets stopped, 1% against what this ETH long would, this short would print me then, yeah, easily covered, no problem at all. So weekly recap, we have, I don't know who is really in those positions because there's usually not so much traffic in those TradFi threads. But I'm short SPX as well. I was short here as well. I took a stop, it went higher. All my alt stocks easily covered that. I TP'd on them. Now we are breaking down again. And I'm willing to try to get into a short here, and I'm willing to pay stop losses for that, simply because I'm going with the shorts. I'm probably having like 30% cash, 30% shorts, and 40% long exposure still in the TradFi market. And this is just a way, again, to hedge me. I think it's a good time to be a higher time frame seller. And so I'm trying to get into such a short. If I get stopped, I get stopped. I take a TP on a long if I want to. And if it goes down, I'm prepared either way. So again, same strategy. And I'm really hoping I can like make some people enjoy TradFi a little more, simply because I think it's the way better market from my perspective. I just have a lot more fun making a lot more money in them. So yeah, you will see me mostly TradFi trading. I'm also in this Nvidia short. It's doing kind of well. I moved my stop loss to break even, also trying to short the top here. Yeah, it's always hard on those trending like major assets, because I thought here's the top. I got stopped at around break even here, or here actually, and I got stopped around break even here. It went higher and it went even way higher. But now again, I think just from a market perspective, I think we are about to top soon, and I'm willing to pay the stop for this idea. So, and now my stop is at break even, by the way. So yeah, not too bad. And you see, as a swing trader, you need to have a different skill set, because if I always like approach everything like a range, I need to TP here, right? I mean, this is the first real area of resistance here, this big demand. And if I would like trade this, I would definitely TP here. But as said, I'm a high time frame swing trader. I look at this that way. And this is not the move I'm here for. This is not the move why I built this position. What I like doing, or what I could have done, which I didn't here, but I could have opened another one and simply playing this position then a little bit tighter, maybe, and with a local TP. I didn't see a reason to do that here. Yeah, and so willing to round trip this swing here as well. Other than that, the alt stocks have been crazy this today. QBT is breaking down. To the new members, a lot of things like will be new, but I usually show them every single week. So for the ones who are here for longer, they will know. Yeah, I TP 90% here simply on the breakdown, and I have some moonback left from down here. Let's remove this real quick. We are here in this demand. I expect some kind of bounce here, to be honest. There's also a reason why I'm long ETH, because I expect some kind of counter trend bounce from here, and I'm thinking about maybe adding some back or taking a long here, but I'm not quite sure. I want to see how Monday develops, maybe something like this. Simply because the SPX is not in favor right now. If you look at this, we have broken this structure. It's going more and more parabolic, and it's breaking the structure here. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. So let's see how Monday develops and the next week in general. And then I will decide if I add to some of those back. And you will see it's different sectors, in this case quantum computing. They tend to move. It's logarithmic, I thought. Why are the trend lines so weird? You will see different sectors, or the same sector will usually somewhat be correlated. And this is similar to crypto. So you have altcoins going up and down together, right? And so you have quantum computing going up and down together. But the beauty of stocks is that you have maybe one sector doing good or doing well, and you have another sector which is completely not correlated. I mean, there are times where everything is just nuking, and there are times where everything is just pumping, but the correlation is not as high as in crypto, and so I can treat those plays as different plays. So if I take, for example, a long here, I see it as it has a different risk profile and a different risk character as if I would, for example, take a nuclear long. But obviously, it still adds to my long exposure, to my long stock exposure, risk exposure, I would call it. But as I said, those sectors tend to outperform each other at times. And this is the beauty of stock trading, because in crypto, you build two longs, maybe not even at the same area, and it will pump together, it will dump together, usually. And here you build like two longs, and one will pump, the other one will dump. And maybe the one that pumps will pump more, and it even covers everything, or your position size is big and all that. So you will always have some kind of counterplays to each other, which is just beautiful, because you don't look at your chart every single day and everything is moving in unison. And as I said, this is also a reason why you won't see me trading a lot of altcoins, simply because everything is more or less correlated to BTC and ETH anyway. Sure, we have those exit pumps, sure, we have some outperformance of some garbage coin here and there, but in general, it's all pretty much correlated to ETH and BTC. And so you won't see me trading a lot of altcoins simply because I don't see a reason for it. It's about RR anyway. Doesn't really matter if it's 20% or 10%. If the stop loss needs to be wider because the potential gain is bigger, I still end up with the same R. So who cares? I trade mainly majors. Sometimes I dip my toe into some crap. Yeah, and other than that, you will see me trading a lot of those stocks. Yeah, and it's pretty much a similar thing all the time. You have some kind of momentum building up, not the time to sell. It's hitting supply. You maybe take some profits here, but you definitely you step aside and take some profits once it's breaking the trend. Why is this trend line so weird? Is there a reason why I pulled it like that? Probably is, but I don't remember. Yeah, I'm definitely also out of this stock. This is still in the alt stock section. It's still an open thread. TP'd here simply because it's breaking down. Then you have some kind of counter trend bounce, and you think like, oh, it was the wrong choice, but yeah, it turned out to be the right choice as usual. So if you trade them, you need to be very disciplined. And it's a market like every other market. Like you have the breakdown, you get your clear signal to get out, you have a close below, and then it pumps. And sometimes it makes sense to wait for this kind of pump, but sometimes it also just doesn't happen and it just nukes, and then you will probably be mad about yourself that you didn't sell here. So stick to your strategy, be disciplined, manage your risk properly. It's the same story as usual. And as said, also here, same story, breaking down. I did a TP here and it pumped again 7%. You think like, oh no, it's the wrong choice. And then you open your chart next day and it's down 42% pre-market. So also if you want to trade stocks, make sure you are able to trade pre-market and aftermarket, because if you use some crappy neo broker without any fees and that kind of stuff, you probably, or also FTMO, you probably won't be able to trade pre-market. And if you wake up with this in your face and you can't even react because your broker doesn't allow to do anything, and yeah, just pain, unnecessary pain. There are plenty of good exchanges out there. Broker. Which broker do you recommend? I use Interactive Brokers. Yeah, I tried some. It's the best one. Fees are all right, spreads are all right. The amount of instruments you can trade is unmatched in my view. So Interactive Brokers is, in my view, the way to go. Oftentimes you will see a lot of crappy interfaces, user interfaces with the TradFi stuff. And compared to crypto, Interactive Brokers is still not like wow, but it's way better than most professional TradFi brokers I've seen so far. So yes, this was my weekly recap basically. We need to look at soybeans as well, because soybeans are doing well. We have USA buying soybeans from China. In reality, we just hit demand here and the point of control, and we broke out of trend line, and so now we need to bid up soybeans. And we look at a similar setup. You will find it in the setups TradFi thing as well on why is it all on the log? You will find the setup in the TradFi setup channel thing. Similar setup to soybeans. I mean, wheat is back at demand, and we are retesting more or less. We ranged on wheat like ever since it invented wheat, from the 70s to 2006. And now we trading above this range, more or less retesting this demand and all that. But there's a very simple strategy on those, which you can use. And this is, as long as this is a downtrend, and I'm just using a simple trend line for this, it's a downtrend. So why would I be long? And should this keep on grinding down, I'm gonna thinking about like buying this demand here, the lower one. And should it simply be breaking out here, I can still enter here. I don't need to be perfect. I can still enter here to put my stop below the low, and I target somewhat the supply here, or TPs along the way, obviously. And then it could turn out to be a very great setup. So even wheat can move aggressive, right? So you don't need to have the crappiest shitcoin from the shadiest people in exchanges to make significant gains. I don't know why people are so obsessed with crypto. It's the most fucked up market there is. And there are so many clean trading markets out there. And I don't know why, but it seems like people need to prove something in crypto. So I can beat the market or whatever. I'm here to make money, and I'm gonna do it the easiest way. And I think commodities are also a nice way to go. I'm not trading futures, by the way. I just look at the futures chart because it has the highest volume. You see, if I trade it, I mean, it looks pretty shit on this chart. But I trade the ETFs. So for example, on soybeans, I look at the futures chart, and it will look different than the ETF chart, because the ETF chart is made out of like three different soybean futures. So I buy more or less, so I let some other people manage the futures for me. So there are like three different futures positions, and there is an institution, in this case Toicrium probably, and they are managing those futures, and they make this basket out of three different ones. And so I can simply buy the ETF. I don't have hidden risks, futures, like the time stuff with futures and all that. So yeah, commodities, fun stuff. So I think this is it with my weekly recap. I hope everything is clear so far. If you have any questions, you can simply ask them. So questions regarding the server, questions regarding my trading style, the charts, whatever, just bring it. How can I get invited? My Toast study group server. Yeah, it's not my group. I mean, I did my little rant, but usually I take some time after to read all the messages. And sometimes I have an eye on the messages. And I didn't think that the message was like targeting me because it's not my group, as Barncus said. Great to hear you speak about the benefit of stocks. You got my brain thinking. Yeah, as said, I don't know why people are so obsessed with crypto. I mean, crypto has its advantages, but it has also so many downsides, like the correlation stuff and all that. And as said, I'm not here to prove anything. I'm not here to like prove people I'm able to like drain crypto or whatever. I'm here to make money consistently. And so I think to like spread yourself across different markets is so helpful, not just because like you have more opportunities, but also because you will maybe find a market that just suits you a lot more. Maybe your personality, your trading style, your thinking, yeah, whatever it is. So for example, I started to trade stocks. And to be honest, I came into the market by like investing into stocks, and then I went down the crypto road, and then altcoin, and then I learned a lot of trading skills. So I'm pretty happy for that. But then I came back to stocks, and it just flows so much more. I don't know why, it just feels so much more natural. And I'm applying different things I learned somewhere, but I also make it my own. And I think if you want to become a profitable trader or a good trader, or like make this for a long time and for a living, you need to find something that is yours. That is like coming from you and really flowing, not from somebody else. And obviously we learn from other people, and then we use this knowledge to make our own strategy and apply it for ourselves. But at the same time, if you just try to trade somebody else's ideas and concepts, you will have a lot harder time than if you make it your own. And this is what I do with stocks, and as I said, it's doing me incredibly well. And yeah, I just like it way more than crypto. But crypto has also advantages, and I think like spot buying crypto at the right time is also a way to go. And also like here, trading those kind of levels sometimes, higher time frame stuff, a lot of fun. But everything below that, and also as I said, altcoin trading and all that, it's just not for me. Simple as that. And I just figured this out, and why would I do anything else then? We'll love to trade US stocks, but it's pretty limited for my country. We'll definitely give it a second look. This is a thing, yeah. You have those regulations and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they're also there to help you to some degree. This is why crypto is as manipulated as it is, obviously, because there are no regulations. But maybe you'll find a way. And as I said, this is like exactly what I'm saying. Also, if you try out a market and you see it's just not available for you, you don't have the access and all that stuff, yeah, obviously you can't, right? So you go for crypto. But at the same time, I think if you find the right broker, the right exchange, you will still be able to trade US stocks in a way. Yeah, what was says, thinking for many people, it's just easier to trade crypto. Access is so easy. Exactly. It's super easy. It's super like the exchange, you open it up, and it's super easy to set up 100x leverage and just FOMO into a position. Compared to TradFi, for example, if you make an Interactive Brokers account, they ask questions. So if you want to have access to certain markets, if you want to have access to certain instruments, you need to do a quiz. So you need to prove that you understand what you're trading there, that you understand the risk and what it is. You don't have that in crypto, and oftentimes also no KYC and all that. But I mean, also people don't want to do KYC because of tax reasons. But if you live in a country which is which wants to tax you for your crypto gains, and you don't do that because you think like some kind of decentralized exchange is going to save you, I don't think that's a good and a wise choice. And especially if the regulations are coming, blockchains are completely transparent and they will find everything in the end if they want to. And I mean, it's free money for them, right? If people committing crime, there are laws for that. They can just take this money. And as said, once the regulations come, it won't be as cryptographic as people think, in my view. When is the new group White Belt course starting, or can I join whenever I want? You can join whenever you want. Currently, we do 2 weeks break, simply because I needed a break and I wanted to do this and I can't do everything at once. But we restart, it's already 1 week, so we restart in a week. So you can start anytime. The course materials are available 24/7 anyway. You can download them and all that. And the sessions, the bi-weekly sessions start from next week again. Stock seems scary to crypto natives. Indeed. And also, if you look at the chart, one of the main questions I get, how do I read the gaps? And simple, very simple, it's just a gap. It's like a fair value gap, but more powerful because it happened during a market time where a lot of people can't participate. So they leave even more liquidity behind. This is how you read the gaps. And the charts may look a little ugly in the beginning because of those gaps. But as said, you can trade them simply as fair value gaps. And I did backtesting on Tesla a lot, even on lower time frame, those gaps work wonders. So very fun strategy to simply just trade the gaps. They're not your enemy. They're actually nice. Are you planning to ride your BTC short to bear market lows, or will you fully TP at some point and enter a new one? I mean, the dream would be to ride it to 30K or something. I mean, this would be a great dream. Like, yeah. But I will definitely TP on the way down. So I'm not all in to this position to the best case target. Same as I don't buy BTC and hope for a 1 million. I don't sell it here and wait for the best case target. I ladder out my profits. But if you look at the whole structure here, I'd argue it's somewhat a little bit overextended. There's so much crap on this chart. Let me. It's somewhat overextended in higher time frame premium. No, why is everything on log today? And so to me, being a seller up here makes perfect sense. And as a higher time frame position, I don't want to TP the full position here already. It makes sense to me to TP here. It makes sense for me to TP here, here, and here, simply because there's demand. And if I look at the whole range, the whole swing, you see, once we go below the 0.5, being a seller becomes less attractive. And so the lower we go and the more we dive below the 0.5, the more I want to be a buyer, right? And we have a best case refined target down here. I want to be a big buyer here, but I want to gradually selling or buying back my sold BTC from the short, best case at below the 0.5. But obviously I'm probably going to TP another 20% or something here. Or I could also decide to build another long instead of TPing on my short. You see, it's always about the flexibility. But as I said, I'm not going to try to ride it to my best case target full size. It doesn't make sense to me. I was looking at it past weeks, but every time I ask for list, it's mainly top stocks or the popular ones available. Won't be able to show US stocks. It's mainly by spot as far as I know. Okay, yeah, as said, maybe you try Interactive Brokers or some other kind of exchange. You can also ask GBT for your country, which is the best one with the most kind of instruments and all that. And then if you can short the US stocks, like the spot stocks, you maybe have access to CFDs and you can short the CFDs. What's a CFD? It's an artificial contract, more or less. They have a little more risk because you usually don't know who's providing it. And it's basically a leveraged contract, artificial contract of a stock. For example, here in Georgia, I have access to 10x leveraged CFDs. And it's pretty much just, I type in, for example, Google and CFD, and then I get, I can sell this. I can sell Google with a 10x leverage. Compared to if I, for example, I can also short the normal stock on Interactive Brokers, but then it's only 1x, the position is only 1x, and I have a 2x leverage on my margin account from IB itself. And you need to do quizzes and all that to get access to CFDs, to the margin account and all that stuff. You will understand once you've done the quizzes. But a CFD is pretty much just an artificial contract, just like perpetual futures, somewhat different, obviously, but comparable. And you have a fixed leverage, so you can't decide. For each country, it's a different leverage. ADA update. I think I never really shared an ADA chart, so I'm not sure if I can give you an update, but I can look at the chart if you wish. Yeah, there's definitely a big wick. We are also, we haven't lost this low. So I would look at this as market structure low here. So this is my higher time frame market structure I would look at, and we haven't really closed below, which is interesting. But obviously, I mean, this is not looking very strong right now. And if I then don't look at the higher time frame or the context here, but at this, we have like made a low low. Now we make a lower high. The question is, can we take out this first supply area here, and can we take out those highs? Once we shift structure to the upside here again, we can talk about higher targets. But as long as this is just a downtrend here, and not even taking out this trend line here. I mean, if we take out this trend line, maybe this little supply here, we could talk about some signs of strength. But if not, the next logical area of interest would be here for me, to be honest. I mean, we could refine it probably, ignoring the wick, refine it to somewhat here. But in the end, if you want to be a buyer here, this is demand, and everything you do in here, you just refine the demand more or less. But yeah, this remains a key low. This remains a key high in this case. Taking this out, probabilities for more upside increases. Taking this low out, probability for this low increases, or for this demand. It's still on log. Why is everything on log? Yeah, still same story. I mean, it looks different now, but in the end, same structure. It's on my shitcoin watch list. You saw this. To be honest, I haven't looked at this for ages. And I think I didn't share an ADA chart in the past. I obviously charted it as it seems, but I don't think I ever traded it really. I mean, it was one of the first coins I came in contact with in 2021. But this cycle, I think I never really touched it. Not that I would remember. But yeah, I have this shitcoin, and this is made of so much crap, which I maybe charted, maybe had in the past, or just marked out some levels or whatever. Haven't really looked at this. So this is basically my crypto watch list. Not looking at anything else at the moment. It's XRP, Doge, ETH, and BTC. I have some Doge left. I have some XRP left. And I obviously trade futures, ETH and ETH. 10x is way more enough. Yeah, I think when you talk about CFDs, yeah, definitely. So 10x, I mean, 10x is crazy. It's just in crypto that people think then you need a higher leverage. And I mean, yeah, especially if you play like such stocks, your stop loss often will exceed 10% easily, and then 10x is even already too much. How effective if you use the hidden order block strategy for scalping or day trading crypto? Best you simply backtest for that. You can use TradeSeller, or you just simply go for the replay mode here and backtest your strategy, because I don't know you how much you understand. I don't know which asset you want to trade. I just know I don't really enjoy trading the breaker blocks and yeah, the hidden order blocks, same, in crypto on lower time frame. I think, for example, Lucky Charts approach is way more effective regarding scalping in crypto, especially with order flow, because I think in lower time frame, order flow becomes way more important, simply because you really see, and I think lower time frame is a lot more random than higher time frame. Higher time frame is very very programmed, simply because there's so much money needed to move the price. And on scalping, oftentimes traders just get trapped real quick. So if you're a market maker, you see somebody opening a short at the highs, and you say, hey, nice, I want to take his money real quick. You push price higher for a quick second, or your algorithm does it, probably not even yourself. You take his money and then you move price lower. So I think on low time frame, you need to calculate for more randomness, and order flow can really help you to see what's going on inside price, inside of the candles, and why price does what it does. And as I said, in low time frame, you need to be way more reactive, in my view, than just simply like being as mechanical. Obviously, it can also work, but if you want to have clear statistics, the best thing you can do is simply backtest the ideas you have, the approach you think about, and then you will have your stats, right? Yeah, sums it up. Say if BTC ETH are going higher to 100k above, are you going to open a third short setup? 108k. I'm thinking about shorting here, but I'm running out of exchanges, because I open these on different exchanges, because I don't add to the same position, obviously. I don't want to put more money on Maxi. Maybe I need to make a third account somewhere. Oh, I think I have some old ones left. Need to look. Yeah, would be nice. Not quite sure. I'm always a little more like intuitive. So if price comes there and I look at it, I'm gonna decide if I want to take it or not. But since you're in the group, you will see if I take one. What site do you use for order flow, Max? Velodata or ExoChart or something else? Yeah, Velodata. Super great. I mean, it's for free. You have funding rate, you have liquidations, you have all those basic stuff, open interest. More than enough, in my view, for the beginning. And once you feel like, especially once you want to really go down the scalping rabbit hole, ExoChart is very powerful, because you just have more data and you have a deeper insight, and the whole like yeah, I can show you here as well. The volume footprint is great on ExoCharts, and also now with their new user interface and their new software, it runs way better. Like a year ago, it was so crappy. And you can also use the volume footprints here on the TradingView chart. I don't know how exact this data is, but it seems to make sense when I look at it. And this is what you see on ExoCharts as well. It's, yeah, simply, I think an ExoChart is a little more precise and better to use, but you have it here for free in TradingView as well. And so I don't use ExoCharts a lot lately. I used it a lot for scalping, and I use Velodata to get a higher time frame glimpse on how people are positioning themselves and all that, and if the move is overextending. And for scalping, as said, volume footprints and CVD gets quite important in my view. Market Monkey also looks nice. Never looked too deep into it, but I heard good of it. Is there a way to scale while maintaining the same RR? I'm not sure if I understand the question fully. I mean, if you're in this position, right, and you open this one on the same position, like if you add to this position, obviously your entry will change aggressive, right? So this is why I do this on two different exchanges. So one is on BitGet, the other one is on Bybit, I think. And this is how I separate my ideas. So this is one idea, this is the other idea. And if I, for example, scale into this, I try to better my average, right? So if the price goes higher, I try to better my average, better my RR instead of making it worse. Obviously, if I want to add size, so for example, if I had added size here, maybe my entry went a little bit lower or something. But this is just like, should be like you should have a certain tolerance for that. But obviously, as said, I would never add to the same position like to this here down here. So if it's in the same area, it moves the price, and in best case, you better your RR and not worsen it. Footprint charts, trading uses estimations. Exochart has the exact data, every single trade in the book. Yeah, okay, then you have your answer already. If you wanna really have the precise data and all that, probably go for Exocharts. I mean, there's probably a reason why one is free and one costs something. It's always something I'm a little bit like paranoid about. And as I said, I was pretty happy with Exocharts for a very long time, but because I don't really scalp, I don't really use it. I mean, I talked about my lower time from entering strategy last time, and for that I sometimes still pull up Exocharts, but by far not as often as I used to. But if you want to go down the order flow route, Exocharts is great. Hi Max, for the stock market, do you use supply demand strategy over monitor style hidden order blocks one? Need to finish the video you uploaded 2 days ago with one of your students where you're charting TVL from scratch. Yeah, there you will see how I usually approach stocks. Like usually I pick some kind of narrative, chart it, and I mean, some things are similar, like premium and discount and all that, but I don't see order blocks working very well on stocks. So I mainly use supply and demand, and I don't even refine too much. So this would be demand. I mean, it's failing right now, so it's probably not the best example. Here, for example, this is demand. You can now look at 10 different time frames to define some kind of block or whatever, but this is simply demand. Why? Because we consolidated here and then price pumped aggressively out of this area. So institutions, whales, whoever, pumped this price from here, from this consolidation, and now we come back to this demand at the 618. So it's in discount. So for a long, it's in discount. There's a demand. Best case majors aligned like the SPX and all that. This is why I'm not in this position right now, because otherwise I would probably be already in a long here. But as said, structure is breaking down here in higher time frame. We have the SPX turning bearish. So I'm a little easier on longs right now in stocks, and I made good money on this one. So if I would only risking profits basically, but right now I don't see a reason to put on risk here. Monday, Tuesday will be telling, and stocks are so chill, right? You have a day, you have a weekend off, and you can make some thoughts. And also, what I would like to see first is this one breaking here. So this is, you will, if you observe my plays, you will see that I use this all the time. It's very simple. It's not that this trend line is telling me anything new. It's just telling me, okay, we are in a downtrend. And as long as this downtrend continues, there is no single reason for me to already enter a position. I could try to get in the best possible entry, but I could also very simply wait for this trend line to break. We have a close above. I put my stop below the low. I'm targeting the supply, probably TPing here big already, simply because the structure is turning down. And if I'm lucky, I make a 4-hour trade out of it. And if not, it's a 2-hour trade, TP and stop loss at break even. And as said, you will see me a lot of times just using a simple trend line to define if it's time to enter or not. Same story on ETH. So we have the 8-hour like aggressive sell-off. We broke the structure, we retested the level and here's where I decided to enter. If this trend line doesn't get broken, I see no reason to enter. But it could also get broken here and we just nuke lower. It's still no guarantee, but without this without this trend line being broken first, as said, I'm just trading against structure. I'm just trading against momentum. And once momentum breaks, I can wait for a little retest and then I enter. Very simple strategy. You will save yourself a lot of losses, a lot of stops with that. But obviously we'll also like miss out setups because this could have also been just going up, even though it's not very likely. So a V-shape is very rare, but could also happen and then you missed it and then, yeah, too bad. But yeah, and again, general in crypto, this is not working as well as on stocks. I came up with this on stocks, and here it works very well on many time frames. Also in the white belt video you mentioned, we will also talk about this because I showed it to Aristo on Forex. Even though I'm not a Forex trader, I think this is something you can use anytime, and we talk about the whole thing in the video as well. Do you use VSA? Yeah, definitely. That's why I have my volume bars on all the time. So you see, if I put on the MA. Okay, actually a bad example. Let me look for a better one. You will also see in the position management section in the Discord, you will find me using VSA in crypto on ETH on the very top. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. So look at this. Big wick at the top, volume above average, and big wick at the top. This is prime absorption. This is a reason why I decided to TP 25% here. I mean, it also went up 20% pre-market. Big sell-off, so people are getting giga bullish on this, getting dumped on. You have high volume, big effort made, but a very low result, very tight body. And here, prime example, why? Because we have it's a little bit ugly, but we have a high volume candle, so we have high effort, high result, right? We have low effort, lower result, but I mean, makes sense, right? So you have low volume, you have a less result. But here you have higher volume than the previous candle, the body is lower, and you have the big wick at the top. So you have more effort, but less result. Also here, big effort made, big volume, big wick at the top. And you see from here, or let's imagine the close, because you only see it at the close, it went down 20%. From here, let's measure the body again, it went down 40%. Prime example for VSA, works at the lows as at the highs. Yeah, volume, looking at the candle, that's it. US stocks feel way more relaxed for swing, not gonna lie. Yeah, can't stress this enough. If you're here for making money, in my view, stocks are the way to go. Easier money. You can make money, obviously, in many different market scenarios. But as said, this is also me talking, right? It doesn't really mean it's the same thing for you. Maybe you look at the stock chart and your brain is just like, oh, what's this? So you need to find something that comes natural to you. And you will see a lot of traders doing a lot of things that work for them. And you think like, oh yeah, that's the holy grail. That's it. Yeah. I just need to learn this. In reality, it's them trading with their logic, their mind, their understanding of the market, and they're applying what they know, and it works for them. But it maybe doesn't feel natural to you. And I have this very often that people tell me, oh yeah, have you seen this? Have you seen that? It seems to work so great. And I look at it and for me, it's like, doesn't feel natural. Doesn't like add up or like add anything to my current strategy. And so it's so important in my view, if you want to make this work, that you find your own way of thinking, of trading, your own strategy. Yeah. So just if you're still in the learning stage, just play around, try different things, learn from different people. And you will see at some point you will find something that is exactly yours. You're working on an VSA indicator that tells you when a candle doesn't match the volume bar. That's nice. That's nice. I think I've seen some kind of indicator like this before. Yeah, nice. Nice to know. You program it yourself. How much do you use the S&P 500 with confidence when trading US stocks? A lot. A lot. It's pretty much like crypto majors, just that you only look at one or two. And as I said, once this started to break down, I'm becoming more hesitant of taking new longs. For example, this one, I took it, and now if we start seeing strength here, there would be a reason for me to say, I could add back because I got stopped on this one. But at the same time, the SPX doesn't look very strong right now. And so I'm not very willing to add to this play. But once the S&P starts more, for example, getting more bullish again, and I see a play like this coming back into demand, I'm pulling the trigger probably again, because who am I to tell when the market is topping? I think it's going to top soon, but I'm not trading my buys, I'm trading the structure. And so I'm listening what the SPX has to say. Coded it with AI. Yeah, very nice. Awesome. I also played around with AI and made a trading bot. Couldn't figure out the whole fee issue. So my profit never exceeded my fee. It was an arbitrage bot. Didn't work like I expected, but it's actually so amazing. You tell him what you want and he's writing the code for you. It's crazy. Any chance you could give me a Meta? Yeah, sure. I'm not trading it myself. I think we talked about this. Yeah, it's definitely breaking structure to the downside. Ooh, there's a nice gap. There is a nice gap. So if you're long, I would consider like TPing into this gap, definitely. We're here. So because the SPX is looking weak, I'm not willing to take any longs right now here, because the SPX, should the SPX go further down, like 10, 15, 20% or whatever, all of this obviously also becomes way more optimal. I would, to be honest, I'm probably even interested into taking a short here. Something. Maybe something like this. Yeah, this is my take. Don't know what your take is and why you're long and all that, but I mean, it's definitely breaking structure to the downside, right? So this was our swing low. It's breaking down. And so my next logical area of interest would be the range low. So like this. We also closed below the 0.5. We have like same story as in crypto, below the 0.5. Not the most bullish sign, but pull back into here makes sense. So if you just want to trade the bounce, why not? But other than that, probably rather looking for the range low here. I don't know what all of this is, to be honest. But yeah, it's also definitely, it ran very hot. It's still on lock. Why is everything on lock today? And it's still, it changes to lock again. Why is it doing that? Yeah, and then you have, because I said I usually don't trade breaker blocks, but if they're very high time frame, I consider them, especially if they're FIB confluence. But I base all of those ideas on the majors. So if the SPX is nowhere close where I want to see it for such a retracement, I'm not trading it. But this is actually, this looks somewhat sexy here, this hidden block. But here's the next demand. So as said, from a logical point of view, I target this, and if we really enter bear market, then at least this, or maybe even the lower demand here. We have also, this was the green level, I guess. So yeah, it's either here, here, or here in my view, and you can trade all of them. And if you align it with majors, it makes sense. But I know you're a scalper, so if you want to trade the bonds here, yeah, why not into the supply? Yeah, this is what I'm seeing. I'm probably not interested in this long, but I think I'm interested in the short. And thank you for telling me. How much important gaps on stocks that rarely ignored? I mean, I wouldn't say rarely ignored, but for this, do some back testing. You get more confident if you, I can tell you whatever I want. If you don't make your own experiences, it won't feel natural. So do some backtesting on gaps if you're interested in them. But you see, usually gaps provide some kind of reaction. It doesn't mean you have a full-blown reversal from here, but you see also here, more or less, you could call it a gap. You could call it here this. Also, you could call this an order block, right? Because this is the block before the strong move. And it's somewhat bouncing from here. But nothing has a 100% win rate. But as I said, gaps on stocks are actually pretty good. What majors do you use for confidence for stocks and how do you use them? Exactly the S&P 500. Simple. Then I look at the Russell 2K. Also simple. Russell 2K is the shitcoin index, shit stock index. I mean, it closed below this high, but as said, supply reacted twice. Not saying it will react again, but we're breaking structure here somewhat. Not adding confidence to bullish ideas right now, but we could still go high, obviously. What else? Like also a general overview, like having a general market thesis, like a macro thesis, historic understanding what's going on. Also cycles, maybe taking cycles into account. Everything you know should make your thesis. And right now I'm shifting more towards being bearish, and charts tend to confirm this right now. But overall, you should have a macro thesis in my view. If you want to become a swing trader, you should understand what's happening and why it's happening and why it happened before. And price is nothing else but a psychological print of human behavior, more or less, or just a print of human behavior, which is psychology. And so it will repeat itself, not one-to-one, because the market is changing. We have now internet trading, so it's not the same like 100 years ago. But human behavior was always the same and will always be the same. Now, if you understand all of that, because you looked at history and you came up with the right conclusions, everything will make more sense. How much does fundamentals, I guess, FA, factor into your trade decisions and stocks like earnings and stuff like that? And do you consider macroeconomic data like inflation and stuff? So fundamental stuff like earnings, I couldn't care less, to be honest, because I think it's mainly psyops. What's interesting to me, if I look into sectors like narratives, like for example here, hydrogen, or here, quantum computing, genomic, AI, I usually do some kind of research if the company is profitable, if they like, I mean, how many companies have a great idea and how many companies are actually profitable? I mean, like a startup company or something that's like dreaming big for the future doesn't need to be profitable right away, but it adds confluence if you want to buy this for a long term. They have a good idea and they're already profitable, adds confluence, obviously, because they're really providing something. They're not just having an idea. So this makes somewhat sense. I mean, that's why you can't simply rule fundamentals and crypto out, because they all have just nice ideas and probably nobody is really delivering anything useful. But in stocks, there are actually companies who are providing real products, real value to the world. So this makes sense in my view, but earnings and all that stuff, I really don't care. I don't even I saw that earnings were today, like earnings season. I didn't even know that. But at the same time, it's probably wise, especially if you want to trade lower time frames on stocks, that you know about them, simply because it will tell you when volatility will come, right? So if you know earnings are coming up, I wouldn't dare to predict what the earning will mean, because sometimes you get bullish, like I think Palantir had very bullish numbers, earnings, and it nuked quite aggressive. Let's have a look actually, because I heard it today. Yeah, it nuked kind of aggressive, but it had amazing numbers, and obviously it's completely overextended and completely running hot. Also, pretty nice absorption here. Anyway, the numbers were good. The stock were nuking. Sometimes the numbers are good, the stock is pumping. So I don't think there is a big edge in that. And if you want to use it, collect some data, right? So look at what happened before and come up with the right conclusions. But as said, it could add like confidence to, you will see increased volatility. And I'm interested if the company is profitable or not, or what they're really providing to the world. Makes also sense. And macroeconomic data like inflation, yes and no. I think it's not what people think it is, but there's definitely something to it. So for example, important metric, what was I thinking about? Yeah, like for example, inflation rate makes sense because inflation is not good. It's not what people think it is, but it's not good. And it's somewhat an indication of what people think is happening. So how should I frame this? So you need to figure out what the common sense is right now, and the common sense will change. I know, and now I know what I wanted to pull up. Which one? I guess it was this one. Nope. What? Here it is. So I tracked CPI and interest rates for some time, and I didn't last month. But you can make a screenshot and then you look at the numbers and then you just like come up with a conclusion. What does inflation really mean? What does CPI really mean? What does rate cuts or stuff really mean? Short term, right? We talk about short term. I think long term they have way more impact than people think. But short term, everybody's looking at FOMC and we have interest rates, inflation data, and blah blah blah. It's not what it seems. And yeah, in my view, after observing this, I haven't found any real edge to it. So I just collected data, I looked at it, and I said, okay, good. There is nothing to it. In my view, there's nothing to it, nothing predictable, short term, reliable. And the short example, the short sample I have, so it's not a lot of data. I could do this for more time, but I just figured after doing this, I don't really want to see anything more because it just doesn't add anything to my thesis. What it added to my thesis is that people always have some kind of expectations. They think like, oh yeah, this number means this and this number means that, but in reality, it's just what they think and what their expectations are. And if their expectations are this is good, it's probably be bad. And if it's bad for 3 times in a row, they will think, oh yeah, it's bad, and then it will be good again. And so this is, in my view, how the market works. If this is adding anything to your thesis and the data is showing you there's edge to this, quite helpful. If there is not, like this, it helped me to some way, but it also, I don't really care about the numbers themselves. I only care about what people expect. And for this, I look at opinions. I look at X sometimes to see what people think. And I mean, in crypto, it's pretty much simple because it doesn't really change. So it's pretty much the same every time. And so I could the same thing with earnings, but I have a feeling that it's probably bringing me just to the same conclusion and that it doesn't really add to my edge. And I could spend a lot of time just trying to figure something out. And in the end, I might be find something, but I'm a friend of simplifying things. Once I collected some data and I just simply see, okay, it doesn't add anything of value to me, I rule it out, I leave it. I have more important things in my life than collecting inflation data, to be honest. What's the difference between SPX and S&P 500? It's the same thing. You will just see that, for example, black bull markets, it's simply some kind of exchange or like a broker you can trade it on, and then it's called SPX 500. You have also US SPX cash, they all called SPX 500. You have US 500, sometimes they call it US 500, and the SPX is simply the one traded, the real indice, right? And it's only open at the US hours. It's like the one that rules them all, more or less. And the others are just from other providers, or in this case, TVC, I think is just also, it's the same pretty much. And as I said, the SPX 500 in this case is from black bull markets, and I use it because it's 24/7 or 24/5, and I don't have those gaps. And my time zone is the Dubai time zone, so I want to see what's going on during my day and not just when the US opens, because as I said, this is just showing me when the US market opens. Yeah, I have both on my watch list because it's like in crypto. It's pretty much like in crypto. Sometimes you go for Binance because Binance has the highest volume, and you want to see if the level is there as well, or how it looks on Binance, or how the volume looks and the order flow. And I do the same thing. So I use this for charting and how to set up my position, and I have a look here if the structure is really what it seems on those other ones. Okay, guys, let's do 5 more minutes and then I'm done for today. It's actually kind of exhausting to talk so much. I really need to figure something out to talk longer and don't stress my voice so much. Never thought of that, to be honest. Major confluence for major confluence. Exactly. Yeah, you're welcome, guys. I really enjoy doing streams like that, to be honest, because I always feel like if I do just a post or if I just write something, I can't really express everything I want to say, and like really showing it is so much more effective, and it's somewhat fun. And as said, these streams are going to be weekly. Saturday is the day. I think around this time, maybe an hour later, maybe an hour earlier. We'll see how my appointments are going on Saturday. Bitte, bitte. And as said, if you can make it, ask your questions. We will do the same structure every day. I mean, I won't explain the Discord every day, obviously, every week, but I will talk about all of my positions, everything that happened to me, and you can ask questions. If you can't make it, use the topics wish list. And yeah, that's it basically. Thank you guys for joining in. Servus was. The stream will be uploaded. Exactly. They will all be uploaded. They're also, I'm just going to make them public on YouTube. So yeah, thanks guys. Have a nice weekend. We talk next week. Bye bye.